Welcome back to the Shaping Strong Family Show. I am Chelsea, and this is Sharice, my mom. For today's episode, I think it's going to be really interesting because people are all across the board on this topic. I have a lot of friends who do this a lot of different ways, and we had somebody ask us, okay, I'm not going to say their names, but she came to us and she asked for advice for getting her toddler to sleep in her own bed. So in this situation, the toddler is sleeping in bed with her parents. She's starting off the night in bed with her parents, and she's sleeping nicely all night long in bed with her parents. But the thing is, her parents want their bed back, right?
Yes.
So in this particular situation, this child used to sleep in her own bed. And then there was sort of an event that led to her now sleeping with her parents. And
right, she got frightened. She was frightened by an
exactly,
event
yes.
in their family.
She was frightened by an event.
But it frightened her.
Okay, so how do you get kids to sleep in their own bed?
Well, I think that it's not, well, that's a bad answer. Let's see. Well, sometimes kids will develop behaviors or patterns of behavior that make sense in the initial run, but bigger picture, they can quickly set a pattern.
Yeah.
And it becomes a habit. So you can start off with like these legitimate reasons to do A, B, Z, but as time goes by, ABC becomes super, super powerful and strong, and then you've got like a whole other set of problems. So in this situation, I think the parents did, they were spot on as parents to address. She was frightened, and they wanted to give her an extra dose of comfort and love and reassurance. And what way to do that than to draw your child close?
Right.
So it makes sense why they would do that. But at her young age, quickly, a child is going to be highly reinforced to be in mom and dad's bed. And just so you know, like in my practice, this is a topic that is all over the board in terms of what families feel about their children sleeping with them.
Yeah.
And I always tell families that, not for me to say, right? Some cultures, they believe in the family bed, right? So they encourage their children to sleep as a family all until they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they literally, it's not until they're like a preteen when they'll actually, want to have their own independence. And it can be a very, very beautiful, special thing if you enjoy having your baby in your bed with you. So
if that's what you want, yeah.
Right.
That's not my journey.
It is some people's journey, so I just want to make sure that no judgments. If you want your baby in your bed, and it's not just a baby, if you want your preteen, your toddler, your elementary school kid, it doesn't matter. If you want them with you and you feel good about it and they feel good about it, then don't make a big deal about it. With this particular person who wrote in, I was intrigued by her description because she really didn't want this anymore, right? So her husband was starting to get really frustrated with the whole situation, and it got worse and worse and worse. So after a while, the child was demanding like when to go to bed and how long they were going to be there. And then, daddy was crunching in on her. So next thing you know, daddy's sleeping in her little toddler bed, and the mom and the little girl are sleeping in the other bed. That's not really a good thing for the couplehood. Right? So they were kind of stuck with every time they tried to get her into her bed, they started with explaining to her, which is providing insight and a rationale to your children is a great parenting style. It really is a good parenting style to always try to explain to your kid, like, this is what's going on. But sometimes that doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
Especially when you're trying to rationalize with a toddler.
Yeah, and the toddler's thinking, I'm super, super happy with this way, and mom and dad want me to do it that way, and that way sucks. So what do I do when the world sucks? I escalate.
Yeah.
So it's no longer about the sleeping in the bed. It's about now I'm upset because you're making the situation different, and I'm going to do what children do. They escalate. So from our advice to them, though, was even though it's difficult, is you have to do it. And you can do it.
Okay, wait, but let's clarify what does it mean to escalate when you're a child, when you're little, when you're a toddler, when you're any age? What that could look a lot of different ways, right?
It can look a lot of ways in different households, but I think you all get it. Like when you tell your kid no and they're upset. Okay. What does it look like at your house? You know what that looks like, right? So kids can tantrum. They can roll around on the ground. They can scream, cry. They can hit their head. They can tell mommy they hate her. You get the drill, right? So if you're going to change a system, and as parents you believe, we're going to change the system because it's good for you and it's good for us, it's going to be good. You have to remember as a parent, we're talking bigger picture. We're not talking tonight on Friday night. We're talking bigger picture, this is a habit that you're reestablishing for your child. So you've got to go through a difficult time to get them back in the bed. And you can do it one of two ways. You can do the slow gradual, or you can pull up the Band-Aid.
What does the slow gradual look like?
The slow gradual would be, like I've recommended a lot to parents, especially parents that don't want to make a bigger scene than they have to. You just take as much time as you want. So you can start with saying, okay, from now on, you can sleep in our room, but you're going to have to sleep at the end of the bed. Or there's a pallet on the floor, and you can sleep on the pallet or in the chair, but you can't come in the bed anymore. So that's just the way it's going to be. And they might not like it, and they might escalate.
They probably won't like it.
They probably won't. But they're not going to escalate as much as if you put them in their room and you close the door. Right? So, and you're in there with them. So after a few days or a week or so, they'll adjust to that. They'll adjust to whatever you put in front of them if you give yourself enough time to get through the escalation.
Yeah, because it's a lot about you as a parent and how you can handle it emotionally and mentally.
And it's hard, but let's be honest, it's going to be harder for the parents than it is the child. And
Definitely.
even though all the parents tell me the same thing, my kid will get so upset. They'll cry, they'll throw up, they'll scream, the snot will come out of their nose, they'll be scarred for the rest of their life. No. The person who is scarred is going to be the parent. It's always harder on the parent. The kid won't even, they'll adjust to whatever you put in front of them. So the slow go would be a week or so at the end of the bed, and then a week or so on the pallet next to the bed. And then, okay, you're in the room, but it has to be by the door, and then it has to be in the hallway. Next thing you know, the pallet's like moving back into the room.
Yes.
The downside with that particular approach is it's long, right? It's a long haul. And so you're constantly like, okay, they're getting upset, and then they adjust. They're getting upset, and then they adjust. You're getting upset, and then they adjust. But you're moving in that direction, and the level of upsetness, the escalation, isn't as dramatic as if you're going to pull off the Band-Aid.
Right.
If you do the pull off the Band-Aid one, you just have to prepare yourself for it.
For the drama.
You have to prepare yourself for it. And whatever you've seen up until this point in terms of the displeasure or escalation, you can bank it will be worse, way worse. So you have to, as a parent, you have to say, oh, remember that, 2 weeks ago we tried this and she screamed and cried, and then we brought her back in the room. It's going to be way, way worse.
Because you brought her back in the room, right?
Right. Well, it's a whole other topic, but if your child escalates and you give them what they want, you've reinforced escalation. That's why children tantrum. Right? So if I tell you, oh, no, I'm not going to babysit for you tomorrow, and you're like, oh, but you're on to plan B, you'll figure out something else. But for a child, if you tell them no, they're going to escalate, wait, and they're going to try to get you to change your mind.
Right.
If you don't change your mind, if you're the type of parent that what you say goes, kids tend to not escalate as much. So, but I mean, we're all human. Everybody's kid escalates. But if you really want to work on escalation, don't let anything fall from your mouth that you don't intend to follow up on. But anyway, so if you're going to decide to do the pull off the Band-Aid method, you're going to decide, okay, this is the night. You're going to explain to your child, because you always want them to know this is what you're doing. They're not going to agree with you.
No, of course not.
But then you're going to tell them. You could even try to do it a little different, like, we made your room a little bit special. Now you have an extra pillow, or you know what, you get to have your favorite cookie before you go to bed, because we know this is going to be tough.
Yeah, that's what we did with the girls. We made their rooms really nice.
Yeah.
And really fun for them. Not necessarily like nice stuff, but sort of like one of them has a cheetah room, so she just loves her bedroom because it's cheetahs on the wall, and cheetahs is her blanket, and she has her special pillow, and so it makes it easier for her to want to sleep in her own space.
Right. Yep. And then when you decide you're going to do it, pretty straightforward. Good night.
Yeah, just good night. Okay, so what happens, Mom, if this child escalates so much that she is hysterical and breathing fast and sweating and crying and maybe throwing up, and just all of the drama is involved in night one?
Right. Well, as a parent, you just deal with it. You have to deal with it, right? So if she's crying and snotty and, levitating in her bed or whatever, I would say just play it out as long as she's in her bed. Now, most likely she's going to get up, though.
So you're saying to move forward with keeping the child in their bed.
Right. Now, if they throw up, then go in there and change them and put them right back to bed.
Okay. What if they keep getting up?
Yeah, they will.
Yes.
They will keep getting up. And your role is to sit next to the doorway and put them right back in bed and right back in bed and right back in bed. Very important that you don't want to reinforce anything that they're doing. So if they get up out of bed, you don't want to You don't want to give them too much snugglies and hugs and kisses and reassurance. This is the time for mommy or daddy to put you back in bed, because this is what's going to happen. But you don't want to reinforce them getting out of bed. So don't engage them. Don't talk to them. Don't cuddle them. Oh, let's rock for another 20 minutes. No, right back to bed. Right back to bed. Right back to bed. Right back to bed.
Which could be hard for a lot of parents.
Yeah, and it could last for, could last for a while. It could last for a couple of days. It could last for a couple of weeks. So you're going to need to get your coffee, and you need to get, a comfortable pillow and sit right outside that door, because she's going to get up and she's going to get up and she's going to get up. Mm-hmm. Some parents like to have a closed door, and some families don't. They want the door open because they want to be able to see, and it doesn't matter, whatever you want in your household. If you're used to having closed doors, then close the door. Never lock your kid in, of course. Never lock your kid in, right? But if you believe it needs to be closed, then close it. But she's probably going to walk out. And then you can put her back and then just close the door.
I like closed doors.
Yeah. So you just put her back in and close the door. Put her back in and close the door. 1 or 2 words is fine, because you're just giving an explanation. Like, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Good night. But very brief, very short. And back to bed, and back to bed, and back to bed, and back to bed, and back to bed.
So at what age do you think it's appropriate to do this? Because, I have a baby in my bed right now who is 7 months old. And he's my little baby, and some nights it's like, oh, I just love you being here.
Right.
Because I know he's my last baby, and I'm just getting all the snuggles in, so on those nights it's fine. But on other nights I'm like, damn, I need some room.
Well, but see, then you're telling me that you have different expectations on different days, and that's not really fair to your child. So you need to have a system, and your kid needs to know this is how it's going to be every single night. So if you're going to go through the 4 nights of getting the kid in the room, and you say, oh, it's Saturday, now we can sleep together again. Well, then Sunday's you're back to square one. Yeah. So you want to keep things the same. And frankly, consistent. I mean, your 7-month-old baby is my 7-month-old grandson. Mm-hmm. So I think, I'm advocating, my vote is just let the baby sleep with you. He's so cute.
He's just a baby.
He's just a baby. And even if your kid's 5, I remember when my youngest daughter, she was the only one who really wanted to sleep with me, right? This one, no. The boy, no. But she just was so tiny and snuggly. She would crawl in my bed all the time, and I could hear her little feet coming down the hall, and I just scooted over and opened up the blankie and put her in, and it was just a beautiful time for us forever. And then, she got a little bigger, and she wasn't interested anymore. But if you decide to make the decision, don't go in halfway. If you feel like, I really can't do it, it's too hard. Okay, well then just get used to your baby being in your room.
Right. And I know, let's reiterate that whatever works for your family is fine by us. We're just answering this question from someone that we've been working with. So it's okay if you like to have a family bed. It's okay if your kid wants to sleep in your bed and you love it. It's okay if your kids have never slept in your bed. So whatever is working for you and your family, that's great. But if you are looking to, have some space for yourself in your bed, you could try some of these tactics.
Yeah, you could just do it. And then, of course, you always, the next day, big reward. Right, the best rewards a parent can give to a child is not money, it's not candy, it's not a trip to Target, it's just your verbal praise.
Mm-hmm. That seems to have the most impact, because they forget about, candy once it's gone, or a toy when it's not brand new anymore.
Right. And they also will learn to seek out your pleasure, your approval and your pleasure. So when mommy has a happy face and she puts her hand on your shoulder and she squeezes your little cheek, they know all's right with the world. Mm-hmm. Much better than, a bag of Skittles.
Right. Okay, so this was a good one, and we were excited to share it with you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. And as always, if you have any questions or any comments you want to make about this video, go ahead and leave them down below. And I think that's all for now. Mm-hmm. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye.